How's it going, everybody? Welcome to We Do Tech. Now, this video is just going to be a quick review of the Western Digital Blue SSD. Now, the Western Digital Blues aren't new to the market or anything, but I was able to recently get my hands on one just to test it out a bit and see how they perform to all of the other SSDs that I've reviewed until now. Like, for instance, the Seagate BarraCuda, and then also the Mushkin Source, and then just my blasty. My OCZ Arc 100, which again is the first SSD that I ever bought, and it's still going strong. But now, once I do have more drives to test, I will add that to the comparisons as well, so that will just help increase our database and see how all of the different SSDs compare to each other. Just a mention before we start, some of these drives will differ in sizes, which might play a factor in performance. I don't get all of the sizes and just all of the exact same sizes to compare. Sometimes I get a 1 terabyte here, a 2 terabyte there, or 250 gig, so on. So just keep that in mind for the benchmarks as well. So I'm starting off with the pricing. Here are all of the SSDs that I've benchmarked in not only ZAR but also in USD with all its various capacities. These prices are currently what they are retailing at, and they might change later on in time. But getting into our benchmarks for our sequential read and writes, it was pretty much neck and neck between the WD and the Seagate BarraCuda, with the WD reaching read speeds of 564 megabytes per second, megabytes per second, and writes of 537.9 megabytes per second. For our random read and writes speeds, the WD had a blistering of fast reads at 96,224 IOPS and a good reads as well of 83,061 IOPS. So again, it was pretty close between the WD and the Seagate BarraCuda. Then I did also do a few other random speed tests with different queue depths and threads, where we did see a bunch of different leaders depending on the test, but overall it did seem like the WD was mostly in front or just a quick second. And next, for our access time, how long it takes to get access to the SSD, the Western Digital pretty much outperformed the others here, so no surprise there. As for our Windows boot test, which was timing from when the BIOS screen loaded till inside Windows, it was quite close, but the Mushkin SSD was pretty much in the lead by 2 seconds. Then for our large file copy test, I made a Steam backup of just under 100 gigs and made a duplicate of it on the same drive. The WD was pretty much the fastest by far, completing it in 7 minutes and 58 seconds, and the Seagate BarraCuda did it only in 10 minutes and 10 seconds. The Western Digital just had a much higher constant speed copy rate compared to all of the other SSDs. Then for our final test, which is a game load times, I tested WILDLANDS with a startup and then also how long it took to load a saved game. For a game startup, it was pretty close between the 4 drives, but the Western Digital was a bit faster, taking the lead. But for the save game load test, the Seagate was a few seconds faster than the other 3 SSDs. So from the benchmarks, we can see that the Western Digital Blue SSD does do quite a good job, pretty much beating out the other ones, not in everything, but especially in that 100 gig copy test. That was quite a big lead. So if you guys want to get a Western Digital Blue for yourself, we'll leave links in the video description where you can get it on Rebeltech if you live here in South Africa, or Amazon. I do hope that I'll be able to get my hands on a bit more SSDs to grow the database a bit more, to show you guys which SSD, more like SATA SSD, is the fastest and especially the best for the price. And then later on we can grow our NVMe database more as well. But that's pretty much it for this review. If you guys did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and comment like always. And then I will check all of you next time. Cheers, guys.